Hey, everybody, this is Austin,
And this is Jeff.
and welcome back to episode 4 of the Bicknell&Shea podcast.
Yep, we made it all the way to 4.
It's a little more than some of those other people who get started can say, but here we are. Been still getting some good feedback. We appreciate that, but we're not going to bother to talk too much about the podcast, so
Yep, we're just going to jump in. Today, we've got a topic we wanted to talk about. We're going to talk about sports. And when we talk about sports, we're going to talk mostly about high school sports and maybe a little bit of college, maybe a little bit of professional. Who knows? We're just going to talk about sports.
I've been getting a lot of requests for sports from my coworkers who I'm the only person in my company who just doesn't talk about sports or stats or anything like that. I generally don't care. So they've been pestering me this for a while. So this is for you guys. But so when on our first podcast, we told the story about how we met. And we met through high school sports. I was, kind of career track and cross country through high school. And Jeff just joined up to be an ass.
Yeah, pretty much. Just to be a dickhead. Have a little bit of fun.
Definitely made the coach mad some days so that I was not treated worse, but I got worse off because of it. So thanks.
Yeah. Do you remember doing track and was it track and cross? There was no cross country in middle school, but do you remember doing track in middle school?
I do. I actually only did track my 8th grade year, and I didn't even run. I ended up joining the throwing team where I throw shot and discus, and I was by far the worst person.
Dude, I remember doing track in middle school because they brought out the discus and the shot put, and I had never seen a discus or shot put before, and they were like, okay, you can just throw these. And I was like, well, how do you like this? I didn't want to do shot put because it didn't look that fun, but the discus, they were showing you like how to grab it, and they're like, all right, spin in a circle and let this bitch fly. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah. I was all over that. But in middle school, I was probably like 5'2", 96 pounds maybe. So like I was probably only throwing the discus maybe 20 feet, if that. But it was so much fun just like getting up there and trying to throw the discus as far as I possibly could.
It was definitely more fun than running for me. Because I was that kid who ran like an 8 or 9 minute mile. So it's not like I was like walking the track, but I was not impressive out there compared to the kids who were pretty athletic. So that made me feel a little bit better in 8th grade.
Yeah, we had that shitty track too, because we went to this middle school called Adobe Middle School, and they had this shitty clay dirt track.
Red clay. So it stained everything. Your shoes, your socks, your shorts, anything that came in contact with was just permanently stained red.
And we'd have to run on that track for PE. So like any sort of running, we'd be running miles or doing stuff on the soccer field, and you'd constantly be going on that track and like bringing that clay into the high school or into the middle school, into the gym, all around. It's just super annoying.
Yeah, I mean, if you had white tennis shoes, you didn't have white tennis shoes anymore after you ran that first mile.
Yeah. I don't think, oh, yeah, we had basketball in middle school, and I think that was it. There was just basketball. Was there volleyball?
I don't think so.
There might have been was there wrestling?
I wasn't particularly involved in sports in middle school. I joined the science club because I was a loser.
I didn't even know there was a science club.
Uh-huh, yeah. Joined the science club, mainly because a girl I had a crush on joined, so I'm like, oh, yeah, science club.
Shit.
That sounds so cool.
Do I know this girl?
Yes.
All right, I feel like we're
not going to talk about that.
Yeah, we'll save it for later. I feel like we'll talk about it later. Anyways, what did you do in science club? I didn't even know. I really didn't know there was a science club in middle school.
It wasn't even noteworthy enough for me to really remember. Yeah. I don't know. I was in there to look at girls unsuccessfully.
Yeah. You show up and there's just like one girl and 7 dudes in science club. I feel like that's definitely what happened.
Accurate. But yeah, so I wasn't Mr. Sports in middle school, and high school came around and I was still not Mr. Sports. I didn't do anything the fall. I was pretty focused on learning what high school was all about and trying to find my way, be less of a loser that I was. Didn't happen until I got my driver's license, but
When
um,
what what year of high school did you get your driver's license?
sophomore.
See, I didn't get my driver's license till almost junior year, I think. I think it was the summer between sophomore and junior year because I was super young, and I was always pissed because everyone had their license, and I don't know why. It like when you're younger, you just get jealous for no reason over driving. It's just so aggravating.
Yeah, I got mine that winter of sophomore year, so I was a solid half a year ahead of you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that fall I did nothing. I went to PE because I didn't I know, I didn't have the, sport credit to get out of doing PE. So I did that my freshman year. That's where I kind of learned that I wasn't as unathletic as I thought, cuz once you get this melting pot of all these kids from all the different, schools around the area,
All
um
two of them.
yeah. But it wasn't until that second semester my freshman year that I even thought of doing anything, cuz my dad's like, "You're going to play a sport. I don't care what sport, but you're going to do a sport." Um and what I wanted to do was golf, actually, but golf was in the fall and there was no way I was making that team. I mean, I maybe golfed about twice a year up until that point. I had a set of kind of bargain bin golf clubs, and I only recently found out that the reason that I slice on every single shot is because I pull my shoulders way in, and when I fix that, I pop my shoulder out of its socket, so that's probably not the best sport for me.
Jesus Christ. I feel like you could have made the golf team. There was a lot of slapdicks on the golf team.
Maybe, but I ended up joining track because it was the one sport that had no tryouts. You just joined and you were there. Um, and I kind of found my place. Like, I
What?
was decent.
So when you joined track, you went straight for, did you go straight for running? Like, were you going to do distance? You knew you were going to do distance. Were you going to try sprints? What was like your go-to?
Well, I knew 100% for a fact I was not going to do sprints. There was no way. I was a little bit more overweight. Not by much, but I saw the kids that did sprints. I'm like, there's no way. Um, Throwing, I also saw how giant those kids were. I'm like, no chance.
Mm-hmm.
And then distance, I'd heard some of my friends actually were in cross country, and they're like, hey, just join the distance team. It's actually not that bad. So I did.
It'll be fun, they say. Join the distance
Yeah.
team.
Run 9 miles, they said. It'll be fun, they said.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I had fun.
when you started your freshman year, did you like finish your growth spurt? Because I didn't grow until I was like end of sophomore. Probably junior year is when I really grew and got bigger. Were you kind of like done growing? Were you in between growing?
No, I think I was done growing as soon as I entered high school.
Really?
That was it. I peaked early.
See, when I entered high school, I was probably, like I said before, I was like probably like 5'4", 110 pounds, 115 pounds. And then I didn't grow until maybe my, like I said, junior year. And then I grew to about 5'10". And then I think by the end of my junior year, I was closer to 6 foot. And then end of senior year, I was probably like 6'2", 6'3". But it took me a long time to grow. And I was always so frustrated because when I played sports, I would always get made fun of by the coaches because they would tell me, like, my sister is 6 foot and she was tall, like, the beginning of high school. So they would see my sister and the coaches would be like, oh, you're not going to grow. You're too short. You know what I mean? Like, what happened to you? You know, your dad's 6'6". If only you had height, you'd be better. And it was always so frustrating and so annoying. So, but it was, felt good once I finally grew. I was kind of happy.
Yeah, I was one of those kids in middle school where it's like, wow, Austin, you're so tall. Look, how much taller are you going to get? It's like, I'm not. I'm done. I didn't realize it at the time, but I was done. And right now I stand about 5'7" 3/4" according to my last doctor visit, because they just wouldn't give me that 5'8".
Your
They
doctor's a
literally had to
dick.
make a point of 5'7" 3/4".
And they let you know how much you weigh too. They don't slide that.
Oh no. Yeah, so you took a much different path than I did.
Yeah, growing up, I played baseball, basketball. I played soccer when I was young. And that was not fun. I played, I think, one season when I was younger, and it was cool because we would get orange slices and all that stuff that the team moms would bring. That was kind of fun. But I remember specifically we were playing this one soccer game, and I was in the game, and this kid kicked the ball, and the ball went straight into my nuts. Straight into my nuts. I'm probably like 6 years old. This kid punched the ball, goes straight into my nuts. I dropped right there on the field, and they had to call time. And then the coach came and picked me up, took me off the field, and then I just sat next to my mom, and she gave me this like ice cold water bottle for me to put between my legs for my nuts. And I was just like, I'm never playing soccer again. Fuck this sport. And I literally never played soccer again.
This is a little known fact. I also played soccer when I was a little kid, like second grade.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a game where I was playing. I was horrible, right? Probably the worst kid on the team. But I had a loose tooth because, you're young, you're losing teeth all the time. It wasn't like at any risk or anything, but my mom was so worried that it was going to fall out on the field and we were going to lose it that she just pulled me out of the game. And I had to sit on the side. Yeah.
I could see your
It's
mom
not-
being overprotective like that.
I mean, that's the only time I can really think of. But yeah, everyone was like, "What's wrong? What happened?" I'm like, "I got a loose tooth. I don't know. I don't know."
That's fucking hilarious. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
every parent puts their kids in soccer because it seems like such a safe sport for your kids to play.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like baseball where you got the, ball coming at you and swinging bats. It's not like football where you're getting tackled all the time. It's not like wrestling where you're literally in physical combat with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone tries soccer at least once.
And there's not like, you don't need a ton of equipment. Like if you want to get your kids started, get them a soccer ball. If you're going to play in the sport, of course you need like shin pads and cleats and stuff like that. But I mean, you can just get your kid a soccer ball and they can start playing in the backyard. It's not too crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, not all of us got fucking batting cages in our backyards growing up.
Hey, dude, I did not have that shit when I was younger though. It was a progression. And then eventually, I mean, I had to find the pitching machine, and then my dad does construction and landscape, so he ended up building the cage. And then it's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet. I don't know what to say about it.
Much like in golf, when I tried to do batting practice in Jeff's batting cage, I threw my shoulder out of its socket because he gave me a bat that was way too heavy for me.
It was like a normal bat, which obviously when you play baseball for years and years and years, you're used to swinging that weight bat, and you're used to using the muscles used to swing the bat. So I just figured, I'll give Austin the regular size bat, regular size weight, and he fucked his shoulder up. I mean, the pitching machine was coming. It was coming like 85 miles an hour too, so that didn't help. But
that was just a setup for me to fail in some spectacular way.
It's fun. It was really fun having that batting cage in my backyard because everyone wanted to come over and use it. Even like people that didn't know how to play baseball or anything like that. They just wanted to come over and like try and hit or fuck around in it. And then they'd get in it and the ball would whiz right past them and they wouldn't even touch it. And they'd be like, what the fuck? I'm like, dude, it's like 85 miles. You're not going to touch it. If you don't play baseball, you're not going to touch it. And you could only make it go down to about 70. You really couldn't make it go any lower than that.
I'm pretty sure by the time I swung the bat and threw my shoulder out, the ball had already hit the back netting anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is
you
weird.
Had a batting cage.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you had a batting cage, and I had like 50 acres of dirt trails to run on in my spare time, so it all worked out.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's weird because you're really good at like because you're really good at running and track and long distance, but when it comes to any sport that involves coordination and like a ball, it's just not there. Like
Never
football,
has been.
I don't even know. You throw a football left-handed, and I don't even understand that. It doesn't make sense.
It's the only other thing I do left-handed other than right. I mean, like right with the pencil, not right hand.
Yeah, lefties are a breed of their own.
Yeah, that.
Have you ever played frisbee golf?
No.
Can you throw a frisbee at all?
Uh, do you know that video where the guys are out playing disc golf and the guy goes to throw it and instead he throws it off to the right over the freeway and they go, "What the fuck, Richard?"
Oh yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
Richard.
That's fucking hilarious.
I'm Richard. I'm the guy who will throw the frisbee over the freeway.
Frisbee golf is really fun, and it's not a sport that you need to be good at to start because it's not. I don't want to say it's not serious because all the people that take it there's people that take it super super serious. They bring like a bag of like there's like 40 50 frisbees in there and they have one frisbee for every different distance and like throw and stuff like that. But it's a sport you can get into. You can go and rent discs and just go down to the field and mess around and get into. So it's pretty fun.
One thing that not terrible at that involves coordination is tennis.
Mm-hmm.
You and I played tennis on our off time in high school quite a bit towards the end of our senior year. And
Yeah,
I
I forgot
remember
about that.
we would play each other, but then we'd also play with like maybe my mom and my sister, and they'd serve it up to you and you would bomb it out of the court like you were playing baseball, like
It's so
every other serve.
it's so hard not to just let loose into the tennis ball because it's so springy and it's just fun to let loose and just swing. But yeah, I would let that thing fly.
You would send it into the basketball courts next to the tennis courts.
Yeah. Tennis is fun though. That's a good way to get some cardio in and a little bit of I'm surprised you didn't throw your shoulder out though.
Hey, that tennis racket is really light, unlike apparently my driver and your baseball bat.
Yeah. What is it, your right shoulder, your left shoulder?
It's my left shoulder that likes to pop itself out. Because when I swing the bat, I swing and I let go with my right hand for some reason, and then the weight of the bat just carries my left shoulder up and out. Same thing with my driver.
You need to get those stability muscles built up. Get you
If
to
there's a
shake
sport
weight.
that involves hitting a ball with something with weight, I'm probably going to throw that shoulder out.
Yeah.
So look out, lacrosse.
You should get into yoga, man.
I mean, the extent of the yoga I've done has been on my Wii Fit balance board.
I've never tried that, but that kind of sounds a little bit fun.
A little bit. The little cartoon balance board encourages you the whole way.
Yoga's fun, but it's hard to get into yoga if you don't actually go into the studio because you'll say that you're going to do the yoga, like start a YouTube video and like watch it and do the yoga, but it's not going to happen. But if you go into the class and there's all these people around you doing the poses and taking it seriously, you kind of have to like get into it and take it seriously just like they're taking it. And it's one of those things too, like you go into it like, fuck, I don't want to do this, but you come out of it going, I'm really glad I did that, and I feel like super loose and a lot better.
I would do it if I could convince my wife to come do it with me. I think I'd feel a little less silly and a little more motivated.
I think you can do that. Do you guys have any yoga studios that are open right now?
As someone who doesn't do yoga, that's not a question I think I can answer.
I just meant with, with Corona and everything going on, if it's a little bit looser up in Washington or...
I don't know. Washington, Oregon, and California are following a lot of the same restrictions, but I think group fitness is limited to like 5 people, so maybe.
Yeah. Oh, it's a funny kind of organized activity that people do is Tai Chi. You ever seen old people do Tai Chi in the park?
Yes.
That shit is so funny. I'm trying to think what's worse. Tai Chi or water aerobics?
Oh man, old people doing water aerobics is quite the sight.
It's every gym that I've ever been involved in, like 24-hour fitness, Gold's Gym, there's always like 10 to 15 old people in the pool getting led by like a 20-year-old chick doing like they have the music blasting and they're doing like the poses and like moving around and stuff and they're like just getting into it always. I've actually never taken a water aerobics class.
Yeah, me neither. I I took swimming lessons when I was a kid, and I was so scared to get water in my eyes that I wouldn't even go under.
You're actually a really good swimmer.
Now I am.
Mm-hmm.
Going down rapids in canoes and kayaks will kind of force that upon you.
Either that or scare the shit out of you and you'll never get in the water again.
That happened to a couple of my friends. They almost drowned.
How did you learn how to swim? Were you one of those kids that was like sink or swim? You got thrown into the pool or?
No, so my sister had this friend, and they had. Do you remember the High Desert Inn?
Mm-hmm.
They had the unlimited swim pass there.
Yeah.
So we would just go swimming there like every night. For a couple months, we just went and swam all the time. So that's kind of how I, got more comfortable with it. And then is actually a lot through Boy Scouts. Obviously, I was in Boy Scouts. I'm an Eagle Scout.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take your swimming merit badge, and they just teach you how to swim. And it's kind of lame, but there are some kind of useful things, like how to make a flotation balloon out of your pants. But yeah, the lake that I took that in was like around 60 degrees, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So that it was cold. So if you can swim in cold water like that, you can pretty much swim anywhere. I did a lot of stuff where we like took canoes down Whitewater Rapids, and you got to make sure you can at least somewhat swim to get out of that. So
Yeah. Because we've gone hiking multiple times to Angel Lake and in Lamoille, and you would just dive straight into the freezing cold water and like swim across the lake like a maniac.
Oh yeah, that's the best. Polar bear plunge, baby.
Yeah. I was like, I'm
I
not saving your ass, dude. You get hypothermia and you go under. I'm not coming in. Fuck that.
don't need it. I'm all good. I still have that video of that you took of me jumping into Lamoille.
Yeah, that was good times. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was. It's not right for me to feel this old at only 24, but I feel legitimately old when we reminisce about high school.
It's terrible too because it doesn't feel long ago, but then you're like, holy shit, that was like 7 years ago. It's a long time.
I know, because we graduated 6 years ago, and that means that we started high school like 10 years ago.
Jesus.
Yeah, let that one sink in.
Anybody like past 30 years old listening to this are like, you fucking idiots. You think you're old, just
we
wait.
don't get it yet.
Yeah.
I feel like society is doing that to people now, though. It's making you feel older than you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because of how easy it is to like look back at pictures on your phone that are legitimately from like 10 plus years ago, and maybe you see how young you looked or like the things you're doing or the place that you lived, and you're like, wow, so much has changed that it makes you just feel old.
Yeah, and social media will bring up, like Facebook will send you a notification like, look at this picture that happened 6 years ago of you doing some stupid shit with one of your friends. And you're like, holy shit, that's insane.
Yeah, that happens. My dad will be like, oh, I just saw this on Facebook today. This was like 14 years ago. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Really weird.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, it's been a long time since I've ran a mile.
What do you think you could run a mile in right now?
I think I could do 7 minutes.
Shut the fuck up.
What? I'm definitely not going to run another 4:55.
You're not
Those days are long gone.
That's really, really good. I could never run well, maybe. I've never been fast. I've always been slow. And I've always been picked on for being slow too.
Which is funny because you're the ideal like runner body type. You're tall, you're slim, you got long legs, so you should be the fastest guy out there, and you're not.
Okay, here's my thing. I need motivation to run fast. Okay? if I'm just running to run, I'm not going anywhere. I've even had nightmares when I was a kid of like playing a sport and needing to run to get somewhere and not being able to run, like just getting stuck running in place. That's like been one of my nightmares. But if I have motivation to run, like I never played football, but I guarantee you, if you put the ball in my hands and I was running and somebody was coming to tackle me, I would run so fucking fast and nobody would fucking catch me, dude. It'd be like Forrest Gump when he runs out of the fucking stadium and just keeps running. Nobody would catch me, dude. I swear to you.
Yeah, my primary motivation to run these days is when I encounter a big ass wasp nest at work,
Yeah.
and they get pissed and start chasing me. So that I run to my work truck, grab wasp spray, and run back to take care of those little bastards.
Yeah, wasps are the worst. One time, I remember this when I was a kid. I was walking home from elementary school in Elko. Is that North Side, right? Is that what that place is called? I
I
think
don't
so.
know. I was a
I think
Mountain
it's-
View child.
I think it's called North Side. And I was walking home to my house. And I was walking past these apartment complexes. And this fucking pit bull just started running at me, dude. Running at me. I took off running, like sprinting, bro. So fast. And all I hear is this guy. He yells out, "Yo, stop running!" And I'm like, I thought he was talking to the dog. So I was like still kind of, and he just kept yelling. And I kind of looked around and he was talking to me. So I like slowed down and stopped. And like he came up with his dog. He's like, "My dog's nice. Don't run away from my dog." And I was like, what the fuck? Put your dog on a leash. It's a pit bull, man. It's like, it was terrifying. I was like maybe 8 years old, and this huge pit bull was running at me. But anyways.
Aggressively telling people how nice your dog actually is such a dog owner move, and I can relate to that so much.
Yeah, people get so like assertive when it comes to their animals. I remember working at PetSmart, and people would like let their dogs interact in the store, and like if one got mad at the other, like they would like pull their dog away like really quick and be like, "What's wrong with your dog? My dog's the best. Like why is it like they shouldn't be fighting?"
Much like humans, some dogs just have beef with each other for no reason. Like I have 2 dogs. One of mine, when she goes to see her regular vet, she's the most well-behaved. She acts like a princess. She's totally fine. But if someone other than her vet comes in, it is baring her teeth and growling, and I'm going to bite you. Like, she's choosy on who she lets, too close to her, because she was abused before we got her.
Yeah. It can be tough when you get a pound dog, because you never know their background.
Yeah. Thankfully, both of mine are rescues, and they're both really nice and sweet. But man, some people just rub them the wrong way. It happens. I mean, for any of you who may not agree with what I'm saying, have you ever been out in public somewhere and someone just looks at you the wrong way, and you're just like, "What? Hey, fuck you! Don't look at me like that." Same concept for dogs, man. It happens.
I mean, you've seen Buddy, my dog. He's the nicest, sweetest dog, but like, come knock at the front door and see what happens.
Buddy used to hate me when I very first started hanging out at your house. He wanted to murder me. And it's only because he was stuck outside, like looking at me through the glass. As soon as he came toe to toe, it's like, "Oh, hey, just rub my belly."
Yeah. He pretends to be an aggressive dog. Like even my grandmother, it's kind of like the first impression. If you just come up to him without being kind of like shy or like skittish or anything like that, you're solid. But like if you knock at the front door and kind of like peer through the door, he's going to let loose and start barking and go crazy. But if you come in, he's going to roll over and just want you to scratch his belly.
Yeah, gotta assert yourself as the pack leader, man.
Like the is it the dog whisperer? What's his name?
I don't know. I don't watch that crap.
Assert your dominance. Well, anyways, you wanna wrap this one up? Cut it out?
Yeah, sure.
All right, man. Hit that outro music.
Of course. Thanks everyone for listening. Yep, we're gonna keep up with the podcast every Sunday, and then we're toying with a new idea to maybe add a little extra content. So be on the lookout for that. We'll announce that stuff on our social media. So, thank you guys. Have a good one.